Okay, next up we have Kunho Kim, who's going to tell us about Roman Grism census of ionizing efficiency and bursty star formation.
Okay. So I'll click with these ones, and then this is the laser pointer.
Yeah, sure.
To press and hold it. Yeah.
Right. Hi everyone, I'm Kunho Kim. I'm a postdoc here at Caltech IPAC. Today I'm going to talk about the ionizing production efficiency properties of young star-forming galaxies and their potential role in driving the reionization of the early universe, and how Raman Grism spectroscopy will transform demographic studies of ionizing properties of galaxies across cosmic noon. As shown in the previous talk, the epoch of the first generation of stars and galaxies reionized the universe by making the universe transparent light by reionizing the neutral hydrogen that filled space. However, many details about this reionization process remain elusive, such as which galaxy populations were mainly responsible and how fast it happened. To estimate, to parameterize the reionization history, we need three parameters to get to get how many ionizing photons galaxies produce per unit volume. The first parameter is the galaxy's abundance, which UV luminosity function, and the second is how efficient each individual galaxy efficiently produce ionizing radiation. And the third last parameter is how many of the photons actually escape from individual galaxies. This talk focuses on the ionizing photon efficiency properties of galaxies, also known as the Xi ion. Previously, many pre-JWST reionization models adopted a single standard value for Xi ion. However, with the advance of our understanding on Xi ion, it's now obvious that Xi ion varies with both redshift and the galaxy properties, which means we need a more sophisticated calibration of Xi ion to get the better understanding of ionizing production efficiency of galaxies. To address this study expands the previously less studied parameter space of redshift and galaxy properties as highlighted in green. So in this study, we are aiming to extend the redshift regime down to low redshift and going to faint stellar mass and fainter, low stellar mass and fainter UV luminosity. This work is based on the James WST Archiver Cycle 3 program led by PI Anayta Alabi here at Caltech IPAC. We use deep HSD imaging and glass James Webb Niris Grism spectroscopy to measure Xi ion in galaxies at cosmic noon. By leveraging the strong gravitational magnification effect, we probe our study extends to probe the faint low mass galaxies at cosmic noon. Yes. We have identified a sample of 147 lensed galaxies at this redshift with robust detections in both H-alpha and UV continuum. To derive the Xi ion, we use the intrinsic dust-corrected H-alpha luminosity from the Grism spectroscopy data and we get the UV continuum luminosity from the deep HST imaging. And these analysis procedures follow the standard commonly adopted way of deriving the Cauchy ion by dividing the ionizing production rate, the number of ionizing photons produced per unit second, divided by the UV continuum luminosity. Here is an example of Grism spectroscopy for our sample galaxy at redshift 2.06, where we see a clear detection of prominent emission lines, including H alpha. And the middle panel shows the emission line map of this galaxy with the direct continuum image on the left. And the bottom is the dispersion map of the Grism, consistent with the detections of emission lines. Here is the Cauchy ion distribution of our sample galaxies, which shows the median log of 2506 plus minus 0.6 dex. And this value is broadly consistent with other studies at similar redshift, as shown here, for example. We investigate the redshift evolution within this redshift range and found that there is a significant positive correlation between redshift and Cauchy ion, in the sense that the galaxies with high redshift galaxies tend to have increased ionizing production efficiency with a statistical significance. And our analysis extends the previous studies down to the lower redshift regime. We also investigate the relationships of Cauchy ion with other galaxy properties. And this is the relationship between ionizing production efficiency with galaxies' UV continuum slope. UV continuum slope reflects galaxy properties such as the young starburst age and metallicity and dust content. It's been suggested that the blue UV slope galaxies tend to have high ionizing photon production efficiency. And in our sample galaxies, we see a clear anti-correlation between these two parameters, such that the blue UV galaxies tend to have increased Cauchy ion. And qualitatively consistent with starburst model tracks shown in red, it shows that the young starburst age, in other words, the starburstiness, is one of the key drivers for high Cauchy ion and blue UV slope. We also investigate the relation dependence of Cauchy ion on galaxies' UV luminosity, and we see a clear increasing trend of Cauchy ion with fainter UV luminosity in our high redshift subsample galaxies, which suggests that the faint UV galaxies tend to have increased ionizing production efficiency compared to their massive, bright counterparts. And the distribution of our galaxies are broadly consistent with other studies in this UV luminosity regime. And qualitatively consistent with the trends seen in the UV luminosity case, we also observe that a gradual increase of ionizing production efficiency with decreasing stellar mass in our high redshift subsample, in the sense that the lower stellar mass galaxies tend to have higher ionizing production efficiency. And bringing up this analysis to the Roman era, we have done some back-of-the-envelope calculations how Roman Grism will transform this ionizing production efficiency studies into a demographic, with a more census of demographic studies of galaxies. With the high latitude wide area survey surveys emission line limit, these H-alpha emitting star-forming galaxies could be observed with the corresponding stellar mass of around 10 to the 9 and 10. And by combining with the upcoming UV imaging surveys such as UVEX and the ongoing Rubin LSST, the combination of these two will enable us to measure the Cassini ion in a large sample of galaxies. And the unique science case with this wide survey area would be to investigate the previously unexplored, the dependence of Cassini ion on galaxy environment, whether cosmic voids, low-density regions would show, low-density region galaxies would show enhanced Cassini ion or not. And another key point by leveraging the sharp spatial resolution of Raman is to do the morphology analysis and its dependence on the Cassini ion, where there is a trend of like morphological information with the Cassini ion. And another key investigation, although with limited by like relatively massive galaxy systems, is to investigate the Bursty star formation histories of galaxies. By using the same combination of H-alpha and UV luminosity, we are able to trace the Bursty star formation histories of galaxies. Here I'm showing an example study where individual galaxies' star formation history can be traced in the diagram of H-alpha to UV luminosity ratio versus the offset from the star-forming main sequence. And the labels indicate the time since initial starburst. And we see that from the initial starburst and the rise and the fall of the starburst, the galaxy evolves in this parameter space. With large sample of galaxies to be observed with Raman, we can do the statistical census of these Bursty star formation histories of relatively massive galaxies. And of course, the deep tier survey area will allow us to investigate the even lower mass galaxy systems. And here is the summary. With the James Webb Grism spectroscopy, we studied the ionizing production efficiency properties of galaxies across cosmic noon, and we found significant correlation with galaxy UV continuum slope, such that young starburstiness or young starburst age is one of the key drivers for high enhanced ionizing production efficiency and blue UV slope. And we found some gradually increasing psi ion trend with decreasing stellar mass and fainter UV luminosity. In overall, this analysis supports the idea that dwarf galaxies might play a key role in driving the reionization process of the early universe. And we also discussed the potential demographic studies of Cassini ion in the era of Raman. And I'll stop here and happy to take questions.
We have time for one quick question. Yes, Seppo, right there. Yes. Right there.
Thanks, Irina. Do you have any sense of what's driving the evolution in psi ion with redshift?
With redshift,
Is it basically like enriching the higher kind of harkening back to Grace's talk earlier, is it simply because in dwarf galaxies you're slowly increasing the metallicities of the environments in which stars are forming?
Yeah, those factors you just mentioned could definitely affect. And we also discussed the higher redshift, like galaxies size is small, which means that the shorter free fall time for gas inflow, and which makes the galaxies more burstier compared to the low redshift counterparts. So we discussed the idea of like shorter free fall times and higher gas fractions in the early universe of galaxies. Yeah. Thank you.
All right, let's thank Kunho again.